So your cat was laying on my neck last night, and kind of out of the blue, he reaches up and he digs his claw into my nose, and he tries to bite my eyeball. I didn't exactly know what to do, so I just laid there really still and played dead. And it
it's not like you fight a bear, dude.
He's scary.
He's a 6 pound, 7 pound small baby cat.
Still scary.
No, he isn't!
Shut up and sit down.
Hello and welcome to Nerddom's Levels of Ridiculousness podcast. I'm your host, Ozpin, and I'm joined by my co-host and buddy, DK.
2 + 2 = chicken, Eddie.
Levels of Ridiculousness, or LoR, is a show dedicated to our conversations on all things nerd. We touch on a wide variety of subjects and news, and feature a different main discussion topic every week. This week's main topic of Nerddom lore is...
Butter toast.
It's Final Fantasy 13.
In all truth,
which may as well be butter toast.
It would be more interesting talking about butter toast.
For me, probably, yes. We're not going to go too much into detail as far as our personal experiences with Final Fantasy 13, but suffice to say, DK will be driving this episode of LoR.
DK likes, Ozpin hates.
Ozpin is lukewarm.
We will go into the discussion further when we get to that point.
Yes. But first things first, Nerddom updates. Why don't you go ahead and talk about Monday?
A lot of, family happened. Everybody knows how family is. We had a small incident in the family, and I was not around or available to really record the live stream, so I apologize, everybody.
Real life happens.
Life is what happens when you make plans.
That's what I'm about to talk about, the exact same thing.
So I apologize for not having that out. It will be out next Monday, 8 o'clock Central Time in America.
Yeah.
It's your go now.
I'm going to talk about why we did not record or put up the last week's worth of fun facts.
Yeah.
That was because it was my fault, really. The day we record fun facts is usually Wednesdays, which we record the podcast on Tuesday nights, put it up Wednesday at some point. But last Wednesday, the day after we recorded level 11 of LoR, my cat passed away. I was with her when she passed, but that pretty much occupied both me and DK's day.
Yeah, you had 13 years with her.
She was probably, I said that, but she's probably a little older than that.
Yeah.
She's like 14, 15.
Okay, so she was an old cat.
I got her, I don't know the exact math, but I probably got her in 2003 or 2004.
Okay.
This can be my momentary memorial on the show for my cat. She was an orange tabby. I straight up, as cheesy as it is, I named her Miss Kitty because she was a redhead, like the Miss Kitty from Gunsmoke. And I had kind of it was at the same time that I had a dog. He was a little red Pomeranian named Ringo, because in Tombstone, Ringo and that gang would wear red bandanas. So I had kind of a Western motif going with naming my pets from that time, but she passed away. She passed away in my arms. I did not take it very well, so...
And then we had to find a good place to bury her, and we spent most of the day digging a grave.
DK actually helped me dig a grave for my cat, and we buried her that day. But suffice to say... at the end of the day, we did not have the energy or really the time to... Or
the mental capacity.
I couldn't do it.
And it may look like I'm the only one that does it, but it's a 2-person program here.
You mean fun facts?
Yeah.
Yeah, I help record the audio for Fun Facts. I don't contribute a lot because DK does all of the editing, but...
Ozpin's audio, I am video.
It is an interesting side note, though, because the last episode of LoR, Level 11, that was the first one fully edited and prepared by yours truly, so I'm very proud of that one.
And then it could not get AdWorded, sadly.
No, it couldn't, but the one before that got it plenty of attention, so...
Oh, it blew up. It surprised me.
Yeah, it's like it got a bunch of views in like 4 days. It really took me off guard how many views Level 11 got.
And we're almost up to 100 subscribers.
Yes, we are.
We're as of right now 91.
As a segue, we will probably be doing something to honor our 100 subscriber mile marker.
No clue. No clue what we're gonna do yet.
We do not know what yet. So if listeners, if you have any suggestions as far as what we here at Nerddom might be able to do in celebration of our 100 subscriber mark, please leave it in the comments, or I believe we have a PM system.
Not right now that I know of.
Do we have it on Facebook, maybe?
Yeah, you can get us on Facebook. You can send a message that way, or put it in the discussion tab, or just on the page. And try to make it not painful.
I was actually, legitimately, I was thinking, because DK and I did sit down and record what was essentially an audio commentary for the first episode of Orville. And we still have that. The audio quality is terrible, so we haven't wanted to put that up. But I was thinking maybe we could do a commentary for something else that we both like. Maybe something shorter than a movie. Like a TV show episode or something. But we're certainly...
The first episode of Supernatural.
I am totally on board with that. I love that idea, actually.
There we go.
And that even comes back to one of the listener questions.
One of the episodes, yeah.
One of the listener questions we had was name your favorite cryptids, and I talked about the lady in white.
Yeah, I talked about land sharks.
But yeah, that's pretty much all we have for Nerddom updates. DK doesn't mind. And the listeners, don't judge me for it. I'd like to have a moment of silence for my cat. She was a very, very old girl. She was the kind of animal who, if you were depressed or upset, she knew. So she would come and jump in my lap and stick her nose in my face and basically harass me until she thought I was doing better. Is that kind of animal. They know when there's something wrong.
It's a good one right there.
But I love her, I miss her, I did not take her passing very well. That being said, moment of silence for Miss Kitty. Alrighty. Thank you, everyone. So we can go ahead and segue into what we have been up to. What have you been up to, DK?
I have been reading a new light novel. Now, don't judge me. The name's horrible.
I've learned not to judge you, given that some of the things you talk about tend to center around non-monogamy.
Yeah.
You're like,
that's exactly what this is centered around.
Oh, good. I didn't even need to. That was a complete shot in the dark.
It's an Izuki novel, so it's transported to another world. And as always,
is
it's
that what
medieval
those are called?
time. Izukis.
Izuki is where you are transported to an alternate world.
Yes.
Okay.
It is, the name of it is Slave Harem in a Labyrinth of an Other World. And it is not what you think.
It's bull. No.
It has yet to turn sexual. It has yet to turn sexual.
The words slave and harem are in the title.
I know, but there's slaves and he's trying to build a harem, I guess. I was reading...
How far in are you?
32 chapters.
What is this about?
A guy gets transported into a video game. He was browsing on the internet. He clicked on a game he wanted to play. It was a web browser game. He put on all his information. He thought he was just going to play a game, and then he passes out, wakes up in the world.
That's a used trope at this point.
It's unique. I don't want to spoil it, but it's unique the way it happens.
Okay.
And
I'm like, that's Overlord.
No, it's very much different.
That's fine. It's just that when you describe it, it sounds exactly like Overlord.
Completely different. Especially since it's
not
VR.
It's not a critique.
It wasn't VR.
It's not a critique. I'm just saying.
It was him sitting in front of a computer looking at a screen. It was not VR.
Cool.
But it's unique. It's a good story so far. He's a lot more ruthless than a lot of these EZK novels. And that's why I like him, because he's just like, well, you're a thief, so I'm going to have to slice your throat. Because thieves are murderers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And he makes a lot of money off of it. But, okay, so I pass it to you.
That's always... What is it with you and these things? I like harem anime, but my harem animes are like Kanon and stuff with...
I'm the type of man that sleeps to heavy metal. Fill in the blanks.
Okay. Is that all you've been up to, or do you have other things to touch on?
I've been working, and I've read a light novel. I've been reading like 2 others, but I can't remember the names off the top of my head. I bought a PSP.
And a skin for that PSP.
And the skin for the PSP came in, so now it's no longer completely glitter pink when it was supposed to be piano black.
Yeah, it's like
red. It's half glitter pink and half redwood.
It's like redwood, yeah, you beat me to it. It looks cool, though.
Now I give it to you.
Well, I watched Ruby.
And?
Episode 11.
Spoilers.
No, not spoilers. I will not be spoiling Ruby on this show. Suffice to say, stuff hit the fan.
Did someone die?
It went down for real.
Did someone die?
I'm not spoiling it here, but...
So yes.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And if it is the... Because frankly, we don't know the way the episode outs.
Okay.
We're not sure yet. I will be finding out Saturday evening. I really hope not, because it's one of my favorite characters, and this show has made a habit of offing my favorite characters one after the other, particularly in the 3rd season.
Oh, God.
So, I really hope that's not the case, but...
So they're like, Ozpin's favorite character. Yeah, it's gotta die.
Yeah. Anyway, Ruby, I started Do Rah 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 X2.
Oh, cool.
Which I'm not calling it Season 2 because
it has 3 seasons on its own.
Yeah, it has 3 12-episode seasons. I'm part of the way into the 2nd season. I think I'm like 6 episodes in. So I guess I'm halfway through the entire thing. There's a character who is introduced. Her name is Ruri.
Uh-huh.
She has the same birthday as me, funnily enough.
And is a psychopath.
Yeah, a little bit. Spoilers.
Just like you.
Spoilers for Do Rah Rah Rah, X2, Season 2, Episode 6.
Just like you.
I like her. She's an idol. And she is scary.
Well, psychopaths usually are.
We say psychopath, but that's not exactly doing what she is justice. But we'll move on from that so that we don't spoil that. And beyond shows, I picked up a few Transformers.
Oh, cool.
I bought Transformers Power of the Primes Jazz, Deluxe Jazz. I like the figure a lot. I got to have it next to my Prowl figure from Combiner Wars. They look pretty good together. And I picked up the Prime Masters, who are actually right here. They're cute little pretenders.
Oh, I saw them earlier.
Yeah, the little guys who go inside the Exo Armors, and the Exo Armors can become guns or Matrix cores, but I like those a lot. It's pretty much all I've got, so we can jump into nerd news if you don't have anything else to talk about.
I don't really know. Well, I will like to add, one of my favorite light novels, Death March, is the 11th of this month is going to be airing. And I'm so looking forward to it. I'm in the eternal debate, do I watch episode to episode, or do I wait for all of them to come out and binge? And it hurts.
I never really liked the concept of binging. You know, I like the week-to-week suspense. Oh man, I have to wait a week to find out what happens.
You like to digest.
Yeah, I really like to digest.
With me, I know everything's going to happen because I've read so much of it. I'm up to date to the day.
That's fair. I'm just talking about binging in general.
Well, when I know it's what something's not, when I know nothing about what's going to happen, I like to wait week to week.
Yeah.
But since I know what's going to happen and just want to see it animated and see if it does it justice, should I just watch it episode to episode or wait for it all? That's my debate.
Yeah, I get it.
But we can move on.
Well, you have a trailer to talk about for Nerd News.
Yes. Syfy, or the Sci-Fi Network.
Syfy.
SYFY. Syfy.
That is how you would pronounce that, yes.
Dropped the first trailer for the Krypton show. And it is different than what people expected.
I haven't seen it, so tell me about it.
Well, it centers around...
Does it look like the Man of Steel Krypton scenes?
Yes, and funnily enough, the writer for both Man of Steel and The Dark Knight, Damian Kindler, is actually helping Goyer flesh out the show's world, and he serves as showrunner and executive producer. So it's going to get really good with the story, at least. It's going to be like that world, from what I believe.
He's the writer from the Nolan movies?
Yeah, he was in The Dark Knight. He wrote The Dark Knight.
And he wrote Man of Steel?
Yes.
Yeah, both of those were Nolan films. Cool. Yeah, no, those are... I mean, frankly, Man of Steel's my favorite Superman film. It's not like there's exactly a cream of the crop selection there. But Man of Steel's great. And certainly Dark Knight is one of my top 3 movies.
Agreed. The plot takes 200 years before Kal-El, which is Superman, and is actually about his grandfather trying to recover the the House of El name, from disgrace and shame. And his name is Sieg-El. Sieg-El.
Well, move on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just want to point out, not the best name to name it.
Yeah. They might have been going for a seagull.
It doesn't come off that way to me.
There are men who are named Seagull, like after the bird, and it's
Steven Seagal.
Well, that's immediately what came to mind, but Seagull is a first name as well.
Okay. But basically this is just about 200 years before Kal-El, like I said, and it centered around him trying to get his family back out of disgrace, and it's going to be airing March 21st, and we gotta see if it's just going to be one of those generic superheroes, or if it's going to actually go on its own. From the trailers, it looks like they're playing it safe, and not at the same time, weirdly enough.
Yeah, the way you described it a little bit earlier was it kind of sounds like the way Inhumans should have been done.
Yes.
You know? Of course, that being that it's on Krypton, it's not like they're going to have superpowers.
No, but I will say this: they do look like they have the armors from the movie.
That's cool. That's cool.
And the technology, because it shows
Game of Thrones on Krypton is the vibe I'm getting.
And it shows a female Kryptonian.
Which is what Inhumans should have been. Inhumans should have been Game of Thrones on the moon.
In combat armor, firing one of the guns they had in the movie. So it looks like it's going to be good. It may even tie in. That'd be cool.
It's cool. Did Supergirl tie directly into Man of Steel?
Did
they just kind of hint at it?
I don't remember Supergirl being any part of it.
She's not in the movie, but the show...
Oh, no.
I think that's Superman from Man of Steel.
No, it isn't. Because the Supergirl show has its own Superman show up.
Oh, it does?
Yeah, and
okay, it's not supposed to be...
he does not look like a Superman to me.
Okay.
He's one of the guys from Teen Wolf.
None of the DC properties are really, like, as far as shows versus movies, they're not crossing over.
No, but this is the closest you're going to get so far. And that's about it for it, so I'm going to pass it to you.
Alrighty. Funnily enough, I'm going... You just talked about a movie trailer that I have not seen. I'm going to talk about a movie trailer that you have not seen in the Obi-Wan Kenobi, a Star Wars story movie trailer.
Yes, I refuse to see anything about this because I want to be 1,000% fresh to it.
You're probably good because I have no intention of spoiling anything here for you, but frankly, there's not a lot for that trailer to be spoiled on. That being... That being said, would you like to set a bound? You don't want to know anything?
Nothing.
Okay, then I wish I'd known that ahead of time.
Is Ewan?
It is Ewan McGregor.
Ewan McGregor.
It is Ewan McGregor.
Then I'm golden.
That's
right. All I need to know. He was the perfect Obi-Wan.
It's Ewan McGregor, and he does a dang good job.
Oh yeah, he is quite literally the ideal Obi-Wan to me.
For those who have seen the movie trailer for Obi-Wan, you'll understand what I mean when I say it's a little baffling. It's a little off-putting. That being said, I'm very excited for it because it looks great. I believe we also got the Han Solo trailer.
We got,
but I have not seen that yet. So I'm
I'm
taking that and I'm putting it in my back pocket just in case I'm right and that trailer did drop, and that can be my next week's nerd news story.
Well, there you go. So, do you have any more to add on to that one?
Not for Obi-Wan, but
okay.
we can...
So, main story, right?
Yeah, the main story is a trailer that we both watched together, and we were in kind of a good mood, and then we sat down and watched this trailer, and DK had kind of a fall apart. That is the Slender Man movie trailer.
I didn't fall apart.
You didn't fall apart, but your mood went... Meow.
I was like, oh, come on, it's only suspense. It's not scary anymore.
I think it looks great.
I
think it looks fantastic.
It looks like a suspense action terror.
I'm very excited.
It's not a horror movie.
That depends on what you define as horror. I argue that movies like Friday the 13th and Halloween and Nightmare on Elm Street, they are not horror films because you're not sympathizing and rooting for the characters.
No.
At least not in the latter sequels. You have to be afraid for the characters.
Oh yeah.
Whereas in movies like Halloween, you're rooting for the killers. I root for Michael. You know, it's
everyone
Freddy.
Does.
Freddy, Freddy loves his job, and he's fun to watch do his job.
Well, there's like movies like Devil or, Drag Me to Hell that are.
I haven't seen either of those.
I hate horror movies, but the horror movies I hate are the ones that you don't know what the monster is. Those are the good ones.
I hate horror movies. I love horror as a genre. So, that being said, I haven't seen a lot of very good horror movies.
When I was a movie critic, one of the movies I had to be a critic to, was Paranormal Activity 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
That isn't horror. That is suspense to me.
That's fine. I would consider it horror. We're defining the parameters. I'd consider horror a film in which the characters are sympathetic and you can empathize with their situation and root for them in that situation. Don't. DK just rubbed his nipples.
No, I didn't.
You liar.
Prove it.
No. What was I saying? Horror is where you can sympathize with the characters in the film. That being said, a film in which you can sympathize with the characters in a situation where they are being pursued and manipulated and sometimes even controlled by Slender Man, which for those who haven't watched the Marble Hornets and other related YouTube series that center around Slender Man, I highly recommend you do. That's scary. The lore that is, I don't know how much they're going to adhere to it, but the lore behind Slender Man, you think Slender Man is some guy that follows you around who sometimes grows tentacles and has no face.
No, I know he is.
That's not, I've talked about Slender Man before on this show. That's not what Slender Man is. Slender Man is a borderline, Grimm Brothers fairy.
But what I'm talking about
It is a horrifying entity.
Slender Man himself is a horror character.
Yes.
Now, I'm talking about the movie. The movie looked like it was a thriller.
I like that.
An action suspense thriller. Now,
there are parts of the trailer that look straight up horror to me.
I can completely handle a action suspense thriller.
Uh-huh.
Horrors, the movies, are the ones I dislike. I don't like Resident Evil because I'd call that action. Everywhere.
I wouldn't even call that horror.
The original Resident Evils.
Yeah.
Where you don't know what's coming because there's more and more mutations and more and it's terrifying.
That got silly to me.
Well, the first one and the second one. I'm not talking about like 5, 6.
The first one and the second one at least still felt like horror movies.
Okay, 7. 7 is a horror game. 7 is terrifying.
Good to know. That's good.
Evil Within, terrifying.
I've watched Let's Plays of the Evil
I
Within.
watched it completely through. There's some horror characters in there.
Oh, yeah. Like the golem made of people.
Or the
flesh golem. It's a straight-up flesh golem.
Yeah. Or the woman that goes through walls.
I didn't see that.
She floats and she has like 10 heads.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, terrifying.
Anyway.
Moving on.
Slender Man. The trailer looks...
good.
Would you watch it?
I would watch it. It does
surprising.
not look like a horror movie to me.
DK doesn't like horror, so that being said, DK would watch it. I stand by, the movie looks like it's going to be awful in a, oh lord, this is scary kind of way. So, it's like, DK doesn't feel like it would scare him. That being said, this movie looks scary to me.
We will have a debrief.
Do we want to go watch it and then have a debrief?
Yeah.
Alright, cool, I'm down for that.
Let's see how bad I pee my pants.
we kind of made this decision. I guess we made that decision earlier today, where we were like, any movie that we see from now on, we're gonna have a nerddom debrief, so long as it's sufficiently nerdy enough, you know.
I think it's nerdy enough.
Yeah. But Slender Man, the trailer, go watch it. It's actually
pretty cool.
It's actually fairly disturbing. I'm looking forward to it. So, that brings us to our main discussion topic of Final Fantasy XIII.
Oh, lordy, lordy, lord.
So, give us an intro.
Final Fantasy XIII came out 2012, 2013.
Mm-hmm. I don't know.
2012? I'm ballparking.
2012 sounds right to me.
And it should have been a one-off, no sequels needed game. This is my personal opinion about the game as a whole.
Right.
The ending was perfect to me for the ending of the first game.
To preface this, there will be spoilers for Final Fantasy XIII and probably its sequels.
No,
so,
we are not acknowledging them. I had nothing to do with them. I played the second one, and I refused to even buy the third one and play it because screw that.
That offended, huh?
Yeah.
All right.
I
will be laying out my history with Final Fantasy XIII when DK finishes.
The first one was, to me, a very good game. It is a very linear game until you get to a certain point, and then it is go anywhere you want, do anything you want. I was very much into the game and loved the game, and I was like, I'm going to 100% complete this. I'm going to platinum this on PlayStation 4. Or 3. It was PlayStation 3, I believe. And I was like...
what a waste of time.
I loved the game. I hated parts of it, too, as nothing is perfect, but it sure as heck was not perfect. It had a motif where you were supposed to get dragged in, and you were supposed to feel like you have this path, and you don't control where the path is taking you, and it's supposed to be linear that way and make you feel like you're in their shoes, like you don't have a choice. You were given this, you were cursed with this, and this is what you have. The junction system, with changing systems to Synergy, Sabotage, Commando, Revenger, and...
are you talking about the paradigm shifts?
Medic? Yeah, paradigms.
Okay, that... Alright, let
me
go.
It was a good system.
I liked it. I like that.
One person, when it gets to a certain point, one could be anything.
Yeah. You can level them up in different areas as far as, like, I guess classes. You could give them different classes. I do remember that, and I remember the Crystallarium, which was the leveling, essentially, the way of increasing your character's abilities to do stuff. Crystallarium?
Yeah.
I always say Crystallarium.
That's correct.
But,
I just can't say it.
let me go ahead and talk about my history with Final Fantasy XIII before we start getting into the specifics of the game.
Okay.
Which was... Final Fantasy XIII was my first exposure to the Final Fantasy series altogether.
I feel bad for you.
Yes, it's also the first video game that I ever pre-ordered. I got it the night it came out. I took it home. I played it all night long. I played it the next day. You know, I paced myself. I wasn't going crazy. I'd play about 2 hours at a time and take breaks. But suffice to say, I was playing it, and I was expecting the open world, not free roaming so much as when I play video games like Final Fantasy or any role-playing based games like the Tales series is the video games that I got into when Final Fantasy completely and utterly failed me with 13. I'm playing for the story. And I was so bored. I was so bored with the story in 13. It certainly has a very epic and interesting opening. The story leading all the way up to, what's her name? Lightning's sister?
Sarah?
Sarah getting crystallized. That's all very interesting. You know, I was with it. But the game... Didn't you tell me earlier, like legitimately, the game was tutorials for about the first 12 hours?
No.
Because, no, hold on. You said it was tutorials up till where I quit. And I played through the game for about 12 hours. Before I hit the point where I had to stop because it just kept going.
It wasn't tutorials so much constantly, it was giving you, here's what this is a new element, try it out. And it does that up until you do the Aeons or the Espers.
Every other time you'd get into a fight, there would be these walls of text to read that are explaining how to fight in the combat. And I'm like, just let me... why is your combat system so complicated?
It was not that often. It was not that often.
I disagree, because it was 12 hours into that game.
You took your sweet time then.
I did.
Because
I took a bit of my time.
It took me like 3 or 4 hours.
I tried to level grind a little bit along the hallway, especially when the characters all got split up and Snow stayed behind and Sarah and Sage, they went off and Lightning and Hope went off. It's like they were all split up. I believe I stopped playing, and again, I did. I stopped playing the game probably about 12-13 hours in.
Well, I'd like to point out that I played the game in about 4 hours. I got to that point, and that was with grinding. But I played a lot of Final Fantasy games.
Want to show me up?
No. I started Final Fantasy with Final Fantasy 3. And then I played 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,
Did you read
9,
the
10.
supplementary stuff?
I did not the first time I ran through.
I did, so that took a big chunk of my gameplay
But
time.
what I'm saying is that for 4 hours of tutorials here and there, then spend 90 hours in the game. Tutorials
in the game doing
point.
What?
There's
so what? From what I've heard, that hallway does not open up.
It
very
does.
Much. There might be fields, but they're still just bubbles.
No, it opens up completely. There's a part of the game where you have this giant grassland, and you can run into every part of every plane, every place you've been. You can go back. And even, in fact, you can go back to the city. Mm-hmm. That's in the later part of the game. And there's these crystallization of Lassie that had failed their mission and turned into, not monsters, but crystal monoliths.
Falsi.
No, not Falsi. Falsi were the gods.
Well, the Falsi are the god. The Lassie... There is a name for what you become if you fail. Kelsey. I don't know. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while for me too. But it's like the
and I have gone back. Like I tried to play FF13. I went back to re-engage with my save file, and I could not remember how to play it. I looked at the. Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like that's any game that feels the need. It's like
how long did you wait to go back to play it?
Level grinding or not.
We're getting off to we're going off too far of what I was trying to explain. What I was trying to say
I'm just trying to cover my history with the game, but go ahead.
Well, I thought you wanted to know how
it opened up.
How it opened up.
Yeah, please.
There's these crystal monoliths that there were the Lassie or the Fuss, not Falsi, but the humans that were marked and failed, instead of becoming monsters, they became these monoliths, and they gave missions to free their soul. The monolith would stay. You would do the mission. You would get rewards, and you would it would help you increase your status of the crystallarium.
Crystallarium, yeah.
Crystallarium.
Sounds like you're talking about the plot, though, as opposed to...
No, it wasn't the plot. It was side missions. And there were special side missions. And when you finished all of those... okay, so at one point, I was running around the whole free place, and I was running missions back and forth, and I turned my character to a certain point, and the camera went with him. And all of a sudden, the sky is dark. Lightning's hitting everywhere. It's just this cinematic, like, stuff's gonna go down. And then I'm like, oh, look, the mountains are beautiful. And then a mountain moved. And then I realized, that's not a mountain. That's bigger than a mountain. That's bigger than Mount Everest. It's looking at me.
oh, hi. God?
And then I realized that it is the Mount Everest of Mount Everest golems that you can fight when you finish all the side missions.
It was a golem?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. I never knew anything like that was in the game.
It's a fal'Cie of the Earth.
That's nice.
And before that I was like, I'm going to want 100% this game. I looked at it, I was like, I just want to finish this game.
You're like, you noped out?
I noped the freak out. Yeah. I was like, just nope. I was like that octopus in the GIF. Nope. But
it's like, change my mind. No longer need 100% completion. I'm good.
It opened up so vastly, and then you had special targets for missions to go and attack and defeat them, and you were essentially freeing these trapped souls from these monoliths. And you had purpose on the side missions. It wasn't just... you got invested. You were relieving people from their internal pain and torture by helping them do their mission they failed.
That's nice.
There's more to it also.
It also comes back to the fact that I was with the story up to a point, and then just got completely bored by it. I was completely bored with the story. And I know some people like 13. A lot of people really don't like 13. My not liking 13, or at least being kind of lukewarm on it, is a result of it being my first exposure to Final Fantasy. It being the first game that I ever pre-ordered. The fact that I pre-ordered it in advance. The fact that I was waiting to play it for so long. And then I got it. And it was nothing like what I was expecting from a Final Fantasy game. It just wasn't. Like, I thought the story was intriguing at first, but even that started to bore me after a little while.
It builds up. You get more invested in the characters.
The world opens up.
Yes.
In a free roamy kind of way?
Yep.
Because I maintain that I played about 12 hours of that game.
It's further in.
And it was nothing but tutorials.
It's further in. It's driven by the story. But also, this
is the classic comparison I've heard online, is the comparison that Final Fantasy 13 is nothing but a very long, long hallway. The people who don't like it, that's what they say.
It's an oversimplification, and they also don't take any of the good points to it.
Okay, because I agree with that from what a little exposure... Well, I say little exposure, but again, I played for like 12 hours.
Out of like an 80, 90-hour game.
Yeah, but that's my point. It's like out of a 90-hour game, I was still doing tutorials 12 hours in.
It's a little bit more than 10% of the game. Most games nowadays have that much tutorial in a game that big.
I guess my...
There's a lot of mechanics it had to show you. Hey, you don't have to read this, but it's a good thing if you do, because this is how it tells you how the system works.
I read all of the... don't get me wrong. I read all of the supplementary material because I wanted to... I play video games for the stories. So anything that was going on, as far as plot-wise, that we were getting the journal entries for, I read those. I read every single one of those. My issue came from the contrivance of... I'm learning this combat system, and the combat system is so complex and layered, and I'm still learning. That's fine, but if I'm trying to play your game, don't make the combat system so complicated that I can't learn it. You know? I'm not saying that it's too hard to learn. I'm saying that when I left the game and then came back a few days later, I couldn't remember how to paradigm shift. I couldn't remember the, can't remember exactly, but I couldn't remember how to engage in combat.
But you only played it for a few days. It's like testing something for a few days, leaving for a few days, coming back. Yeah, you're not going to know what to do. Like, I started a job. I worked 2 days. Learned everything I was supposed to learn. Came back. Remembered nothing I was supposed to. And my coworker had to show me everything.
That's fair. That's fair for real life. I'm saying when I'm playing a video game, that should not be a problem.
Well,
and that's where I was having my problems with FF13, because I can pop in games like Kingdom Hearts and not have to worry about that. And frankly, Kingdom Hearts and Kingdom Hearts 2 are some of my favorite games.
I would disagree with that. If you want a complex
fighting
system, I like complex fighting systems because it gives me layers of how to deal with my enemies, like the stagger system, the pendulum system.
That's fine. It can be fun.
Where
it can be fun.
All I know is that I played it for a very long time, left, came back to play the game a second time, and I remembered how to play the game. It's like if you give it a good enough chance to where it's actually ingrained.
I tried to preface this with saying how excited I was for this game. I gave it every chance I possibly could, and I just could not get involved with it. But that's me.
Yeah,
you know,
everybody has their own preferences. But
you enjoyed it. I'm sure a lot of other people out there enjoyed it, but it did not keep me invested. And when I tried to come back to play it again, I just could not remember how. And yeah, maybe that's me not retaining it, but I did everything I could to be invested in it.
I understand. There's games like that's happened to me before.
I hear it opens up, like, I've heard what you've said, but beyond what you've said, I have heard that the game opens up a bit more later. But even then, what you can do is limited.
It's not just a bit, though. You can go back to basically every place you've been.
What's the point? It's all hallways.
No, it's not. Well, there's parts when you're walking down the hallway, you only see a part of the zone that was there before.
Okay.
It opens up further.
Okay.
Also, there's hidden things. There's Fal'Cie, the gods, in the game. They're all optional bosses. You can fight all the Fal'Cies.
Okay.
You have to go to a certain location and trigger it, and then you can fight the Fal'Cie. Now, I fought a water Fal'Cie on accident because when you beat them, it contributes to the end of the game.
Yeah,
there's the king of the Fal'Cie at the end of the game you fight, and he's weaker the more other Fal'Cies you fight. And beats.
All right.
So there's a reason to go back and also you get these items, and there's actually a system for you to upgrade your weapons into the best legendary weapons. Instead of finding a legendary weapon, you make it from what you're wearing, and you get these parts from the monsters, and you put those parts into your weapon, and some of them increase the multiplier of what the next one will do. So you increase the multiplier to the max, and then you put the really good parts into it, and then you then put a Calicus and evolve it, and it becomes this whole new, more powerful weapon.
That's the thing, and for those listening who aren't aware, I'm not a gamer. Nowhere near as much of a gamer as DK is. I'm a very, very casual gamer. I will pop in games that I feel I will enjoy on occasion.
Frankly, a hardcore gamer.
I haven't popped in a game since I got Last of Us, and I popped that in, and I got to a point where I felt like, oh, I boned myself for saving right here. Now I'm gonna have to restart the game because of the way I set myself up.
The last game you played was Dishonored.
It was, wasn't it? Yeah, I did play that.
And all the viewers on this channel could go see it.
Well, don't bother. I think if we're going to be completely honest here, it's like, yes, the first episode, I'd say that's worth watching. The second episode is 30 minutes of us reading papers. And we lost
completionist here.
Yeah. Well, Dishonored was 2 hours of content, and we lost the latter half.
Yeah.
Of the second hour. So
shamefully.
If you want to watch the first episode, that's an hour long. That's probably worth watching.
Gotta love when your computer crashes.
Yeah, the 30-minute episode that is... I think I titled it something like Too Much Reading.
Yeah.
I legit titled it that. That's not really worth watching, but it's there. I also played a little bit of Bloodborne, but we never posted that.
No, we didn't, because, many reasons.
We have since gotten our hands on the, is it Fate Extella?
Exila or something like that.
Exilia? I need to play that. Because I like Dynasty Warriors, and I like Fate, and frankly, DK bought it so that I could play it.
And you have yet to even touch it.
Yeah, I feel really bad about that.
Plus, I did want to play it, so I don't feel too bad.
I want to play the heck out of that. I just have to be in a mind frame to sit down and play it. But I've
been playing Fortnite out the butt. That is
an important distinction for me to make, though, is that I have to be in a very particular mood to sit down and play a video game.
Fair enough.
It's hard for me to get into that mood, and when I that was a mood that I had established at that point when I was playing FF13.
Fair enough.
And when I put it in, and, like, it wasn't like... I think you're thinking there was a bigger time skip between me playing it and then me coming back to it and not remembering how to play it. It was literally, I played it, went to bed, got up the next morning, couldn't remember how to do it. It's like, if your combat system is so complicated, and again, sometimes the combat system is fun. If it's overly complicated, I don't really like that myself. Another aspect of role-playing games that I never got into was item creation.
Yeah,
I have no idea.
That.
That's an element in Kingdom Hearts, and I have never done that. Ever. I have never created items in a video game.
If you're a hardcore RPGer...
Because I don't know what I'm doing.
If you're a hardcore RPGer, I'm pretty sure you'd love the creation of items and the evolution of items in Final Fantasy 13. In fact, they installed that a little bit in Final Fantasy 15.
I want to play 15.
You have little bits of... You have certain items you need to unlock the next part of your weapon.
15 looks great.
15's a great game.
I remember we received the trailer for 15 right around the same time that 13 was being released.
Because originally it was supposed to be 13 versus 13.
Yeah, it was supposed to be kind of a sister title to 13.
In the same world, actually, yeah.
I don't know if it was the same world so much as it... the Crystallarium series, like, 15 was supposed to directly link to that, and it was supposed to be, like, different realities that all kind of converged in one way or another.
I think it was supposed to...
It was very convoluted.
Up with 13.3. I know we should never speak of 13.3, but after 13.3, the world gets reset, and... it's totally different.
I don't mind having a very long conversation in this episode just about video games and us in general.
Because
we haven't done that.
In my head is that 15's in the new world of 13 after the reset, after Lightning becomes a god after defeating God and resets everything.
After she becomes God and then births herself into existence again, like Spider-Man becoming a giant spider and giving birth to himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a thing in the Spider-Man
Not
comics.
so callous or brute, like, words like that, but yeah, that's essentially what happens.
Don't use words like... You're like, don't use words like that, it makes me uncomfortable.
No, that's not the point. That's not what I was saying. But it's...
I was very... My point is, like I tried to explain early in the episode, it's like, I'm very lukewarm on FF13. I would love to give it another chance. I know. I own it too. In fact, I have it here somewhere. I just don't, I don't know. I need to be able to enjoy the gameplay, and when the combat system is so confusing that I can't enjoy the story or frankly the combat, then I get bored and I don't know why I'm playing the game.
Fair enough. 13.2, I was deeply offended by the story. I was deeply offended by the combat system, and I was deeply offended about everything. I wanted to love this game.
What was it that threw you off so much?
Okay, so there's time travel in 13.2.
Is it time travel? Because I know the characters...
And they actually go into different realities of the same reality.
That's the part that I'm aware of, is the fact they're in different realities.
And it is
characters
so
are very
skewed, and it's so convolutedly wrong about everything.
The
and
mirror versions of the characters.
No, not even that.
The bad guy versions.
No, the characters you love now turn bad guys. Snow became a bad guy.
Yeah.
The Snow that Sarah was married to became a bad guy.
I know you like Snow.
Snow was my boy. I cosplayed as Snow for like 2 years at A-Con and A-Fest.
Yep.
But what I'm saying is like, it's like the Naruto Boruto. You destroyed all the characters you built up in the first one.
Yep.
And that's my childhood. Or that's what I gripped on.
I'm a completionist.
13 could have stood on its own. It ended happily. Sarah stopped being a crystal, got back with Snow. Lightning was now approved of Snow. Was happy. Shaz got his kid Dodge back. Vanille and Fang became crystals holding Pulse Lassie and the planet. I forget its name,
that did happen.
Apart, but they did it together because they've always done everything together, and they did it with a smile on their face. Everything was nice, wrapped up in a bow, and they screwed it up.
DK just spit on the table.
I didn't mean to. I'm mad.
It's
even Hope grew some testicles and started being a man. and they destroyed all that. They even changed the characters. Like Hope was a pansy again in 13-2. It's like everything he learned, he regressed back to prepubescent little.
It's good to know that we share some opinions with regards to this aspect of the franchise.
My last thoughts on Final Fantasy 13 is that the story takes a while to get used to.
I liked the story.
The story is a good start, slows down, that hits you hard. It becomes really good, the perfect ending in my book to this game, and then they screwed it up with sequels because they wanted to pimp it out.
Yeah.
And
no, I can totally see that because
that angered me on a foundational level.
You said starting out, it's like this game did not need sequels.
No,
it's like I can understand that because I've had limited exposure to what the sequel's premises are, and I'm like, what mileage do you even get out of that?
When you have to make a sequel that, oh yeah, Lightning's not around because she became a god that inherited the life stream of the planet. Now, if she dies, everything dies. That's BS. That is you putting some Mako from the planet into someone you tried to just... You pulled the stupidest idea of the hat. And you're like, how can we make this stupider? I know that's not what you're supposed to say. I know that's not stupider is wrong, but it's stupider.
For those who don't know, DK has a long-running history of reacting very badly to fiction that he generally likes that ends in a very particular way that, frankly, ticks him off. Was the anime that really ticked you off?
It shall not be mentioned.
It shall not be named.
I would say Voldemort before I would say this name.
Yeah, that Boruto. It's like, that, I'm sorry.
A shameful excuse for what a forbidden shell it is.
But yeah, I really wanted to like that game.
I wanted to like the sequel so much.
Tell me more about what you liked about 13, because I know I've been trying. I keep coming back to what I didn't like about it, trying to explain my point of view. But that's because I honestly don't have a lot to contribute to the conversation outside of that little window of experience that I had with
the stagger system. The stagger system is brilliant because the stagger bar is increased by everything you do. You can provoke, sabotage.
It requires you to do specific stuff, doesn't it?
To the enemy, but that stuff can be anything. You could cast slow or negative effects, like burn on your opponent, and the stagger bar would go up, and then it'll start falling. So you have to switch to commando and get some commando going, so it slows down the decrease of it. And then you have to get some Revenger in there, and you pop it up quickly. But you don't want to get it all the way up real quick, because you want to get that percentage up as high as you can. And so you go back to Commando, you do Commando a little bit, but you let it fall. Then you bring up Stagger, so the percentage grows even greater. And then, BAM! It's completely in this weakened state, and you are doing so much more multiple damage. And you could do so much. You can have Snow as defender, and he's just blocking all the attacks for your people. And you can have Hope or Fang as synergist, and you're just casting all these buffs for your whole party that just make you OP, and all these debuffs by sabotage on your opponent. So you buff yourself and debuff him, and it's just this collage of... It's like a symphony of what you could do with your combat. It's complicated, but it's well done if you understand it.
I'm glad I gave you this opportunity to nerd out.
Yeah. My favorite
we were talking about Final Fantasy 13 earlier today, and it came time to do the podcast, and we just didn't have an idea for a main topic discussion. And I'm like, you're talking a lot about the game. Let's do FF13.
I was like, yes.
You went on like a 4-minute tangent just now of pure nerd gold. Thank you.
I'm not done. Okay, so...
No, by all means, keep going. We have plenty of time.
Okay, so there's the system in the game where you go to these stationary shops, and you buy items from it, and you basically go around and you buy these... find these catalysts. And the catalysts are... you can sell them for a lot of money, like a lot, but you'll regret it. Because there's this... You can make the ultimate weapons from what you're wearing. Now, there's several bases of the weapons. If you want, depending on... Okay, Snow's best weapon is Save the Queen. It is a coat that is his best weapon you're going to get. But there's 8 different varieties of Save the Queen. Because every foundation item you have, you start off and you start building up, has a different max of transformations and evolutions until it gets to Save the Queen. And I always like using, I forget what it was called, but I did it the first time, and it turned out it was the best one. Because normally, the ones start from like 3 to it, or 2, and then there's the one that does like 9 transformations.
You played the game multiple times, right?
Twice.
Twice?
The first time I did...
I had to restart the game twice.
But essentially what you
do
is that you would get all these petty transformation items and major items. They're just low quality and high quality. You use the low quality to buff up the multiplier for the high quality items that would give it more experience. When it gets to a certain level, you use a catalyst. You have to have the certain catalyst to use. And you would do this X amount of times, and the weapons would evolve further and further and further and further. And, like, Lightning's weapon was, like, Lionheart, or Ultima Weapon. That's a thing.
I will address the fact that Lightning felt very much like a female interpretation of Cloud.
She was a Squall.
No,
she was... Even the creators was like, she's female, Squall.
Really?
Her gunblade, her best weapon is a Lionheart.
Okay.
Squall's weapon.
I always thought that chick from 10-2 was the female version of Squall.
No, not even a little.
What's her name?
There's Riku, Pain.
Pain.
No, she's a...
Pain. God dang it. Her name is Pain. Really?
She's a female version of Vincent.
Really?
Yeah, dark, vampiric, that type of esque. But no, she is quite literally Squall, female version. She even has a gun blade.
Yeah.
Her blade is a sword that turns into a gun.
I was about to touch on that. It's like she has a pretty cool gun blade too.
A sword that folds into a gun. Yeah. But as you evolve, her best weapon is Lionheart, and then Ultimate Lionheart or something like that. But
Hope,
Save the Queen.
Hope generally annoyed the heck out of me.
I absolutely hate Hope.
I think that's...
Through the whole thing.
I think that's unanimous. I think everyone who's played it, whether you like the game or not, generally hates Hope.
The person I hated the most, the character I hated the most was Hope. The person I loved the most was Vanille.
I like Vanille. Vanille's a very...
peppy.
She is very hyper-happy.
Yes, I love it.
And I've been told that... In real life, I've been told, you need a girl like that in your life. Because frankly, sometimes I'm kind of a depressing drag on people.
It happens.
But I like girls like that, you know? If I'm being completely
They're good
honest.
characters.
I didn't really get to meet Fang. Beyond her picking up Snow.
Yeah, you didn't get far enough for me to... Oh.
That's about as far as I got with her. She picked up Snow, and then I think they broke out together, and that's as far as I got.
I'm going to have to get
she
you to
broke
the
him
point
out.
where
I don't
you
remember
were.
why she broke him out.
I'm going to have to get to the point where you were. I'm going to teach you how to do all the systems again. I'm going to have you play a little bit more. I'm going to have to.
I have
it gets so much better.
I have all my PS3 games with me now.
Yeah, but I have the PS3 game up there. I have the controller, and I have it hooked up, ready.
We'll see.
And then I can
I'm not opposed to it, but I also have, like... If it comes down to me choosing between Final Fantasy 13 and the 5 or 6 Tales games that I have, I'm gonna want to play Tales.
You have so much free time.
Well, we're not sure how long that's going to last.
We don't, but still... I want you to try it again because it gets so much better.
First things first, I'm playing Fate.
Yes.
You bought that so that I could play it. I'm gonna play Fate, I promise.
Please do. But let's get off this tangent. I'm sorry.
We're not really on a tangent. We're just having a conversation about
my nerd rant.
We're having a conversation about video games, and I want to have a conversation about video games because, frankly, we're an hour in. The episodes need to run about an hour and a half, and our listener question is short and sweet. So, let's talk about some more of the characters. What's with Sid?
Meh character?
Because somebody who I've talked to about the game before compared me to Sid, and I don't know why.
I don't know why either, because Sid
but I also
sacrificed himself for the good. He played the villain.
Oh, really? All right,
when he was
I
the
get
good
it.
guy.
I was also talking about Code Geass at the exact same time. So
Sid in 13 played the bad guy, but was really a good guy.
I love those characters so much. Those are my favorite types of characters in fiction. The ones who are so heroic that they're willing to be the villain so that a hero can rise to defeat them. Not because they're bad, but because they know
it needs to happen.
The course of events need to play out that way.
I will say this. He became a Cal C by choice. Because someone needed to at that moment.
Doesn't he get lobotomized at some point?
Something like that? Yes and no. He becomes a Cal C, gets beaten, then becomes a mecha Cal C. He fuses with a robot in a way. And then
cool.
a jet. And then a jet. And then...
Transformers.
More than meets the eyes. Yeah. It gets weird. He gets like a...
I like his character design. When I had first created Muska, my warlock, I had used Sid as a character reference for Muska. He looks cool, but yeah. What are you? I know you love Snow.
Snow, I liked a lot. He's gung ho at first, but he grows up.
I like Snow from the word go. I thought he was a little irresponsible.
Very much so. He stops being so irresponsible. He matures quite a bit.
Good, because I honestly like Snow.
In
I like
Final
Snow
Fantasy
a lot.
13, no one is the main character.
Yeah, no, it's an ensemble, which honestly had me excited.
And then in Final Fantasy,
me excited when I realized it was about the whole group, and you got to play from the different aspects of each group.
In 13.2, it becomes Sarah as the main character. In 13.3, it's Lightning. Now, I'd like
so
to
they all just take a back seat?
Yes, everybody else takes a back seat.
Oh, no thank you.
No.
You're going to spend the whole first game building up all this group and then have them be...
You don't even really see Shaz or anyone else in 13.2 except for Hope, and you don't play with him. And Shaz, you don't play with him. Everybody else, gone. Like, poof.
I really like Vincent from FF7.
What really made me mad, we get to that moment,
yeah,
is that Sarah and Cloud stopped being a couple in 13.2.
No, thank you. That whole first game...
It ruined me!
Oh, I'm sorry. It's like that whole first game was spent building that up, right?
Their relationship was the whole basis of the first freaking game!
What was I saying?
Vincent.
Oh, right. I really like Vincent.
Vincent's awesome. I'm depressed now.
From FF7, and I'm not sure where that thought was going, honestly. I like those characters, but someone was like, yeah, you're depressing like Vincent. You need a Yuffie. in your life. That
Because
was
you-
You know what? That was your sister that said that to me. Your sister said, "You're really depressing. You're a lot like Vincent. You need some Yuffie in your life."
Oh God, she's not wrong.
No, she's not. She's not wrong. She isn't wrong. This is kind of a slow episode.
Yeah, very much so.
That's fine. What's Fang's deal with Vanille?
They knew each other from long ago before.
They're not sisters, are they?
No.
For some reason, I thought they were sisters.
They both got trapped as Lassie, or Calci, or I forget what it's called. And they finished their mission, turned into Crystal. And after 200 years, they turned back from Crystal. And
She's still a Lassie?
they got re-chosen as Lassie. Re-chosen.
That's not fair.
It's random, apparently.
That's not fair.
No, it is not. So they had to do all this again. So they're comebackers. They're very close because they had to do all this stuff together. It could have been a prequel instead of another one. It's like, here's these two characters. There's this story.
That would have been more interesting if FF13-2 was the prequel where you play as Vanille and Fang. That would have been more interesting than, let's do this alternate reality thing and make Lightning God. It's like, what's the point? What are you trying to tell me with this story? What were they trying to tell you with the story?
Of 13?
2.
13-2 was, Lightning has now been bound to the life stream of the universe and Earth.
Yeah, but what was the story? That's the outcome.
No, that's the story at this point. She's been bound to it. She's Valkyrie. And there's...
I like her design from that game.
There's a man that comes back from the future towards the... It's 3 people left in the whole world. Both worlds. There's only 3 people left. Everybody's bare. Everything's barren. You can't grow food. Everything's dying.
That's pleasant.
It's very depressing. And they're trying to stop that, but the way they have to do it is they have to kill the main bad guy. But if you kill the main bad guy, the world ends too, because he's tied to Lightning. So if you kill the main bad guy, Lightning dies. If you kill Lightning, the main bad guy dies. Either way, the world's going to end, and you can't save anything. You eventually kill the main bad guy, he's happy because he wanted this the whole time, and then the world ends. And then 13-3 happens because a cutscene shows a meteor, not a meteor, but like Cocoon and Pulse, that was Cocoon,
right,
smashing into each other. Gonna end both of them.
I've seen that clip.
It cuts, it ends there, and 13-3 is everything in between, and then the final outcome of stopping it. And it's BS.
That sounds very convoluted.
It is.
Not to say that Final Fantasy game plots have not been convoluted, but, like... I don't know. I don't know what to say to that, honestly. So you're telling me FF13 is literally the side stories that are going on during the main plot of 2?
No. That's the foundation.
13-3 are the side story plots that are going on during the events of 13-2.
Because time travel, yes.
So the answer to that question is yes. Oh, Lord.
But you're Lightning. You're playing on Lightning's side.
So you're Sarah in 2, and then you're Lightning in 3?
Yeah.
Okay. Alright.
You see all the side things, and then she becomes God, kills bigger God, takes his power with the power of friendship with their other people, which just somehow magically appear and have each other's back. And then she resets everything. And it's like, it's a new beginning. And everybody, it's like Evangelion. It's wipe, reborn. No, not even joking. This is Nerd Rage episode.
Welcome to Nerddom, folks. Levels of Ridiculousness. DK's having problems today. That's pretty... So it resets the timeline?
Yeah.
Is the implication that the events are going to play out differently?
She rebirths the whole universe without the Fal'Cie.
So she resets
she
the
makes
timeline without Fal'Cie.
She remakes Earth. She makes Earth. Not even joking. Trains. New York City. She makes Earth.
So Lightning is God now.
She uses all her power to bring this planet and this universe into existence and stops being a god.
Look on your face.
And then the last scene is her monologuing to herself like she did a good job running on a freaking train.
You reset reality, Lightning. You completely. It's not like you saved anybody. They don't exist anymore. This has all been explored in that episode of Star Trek Voyager. It's like, it's kind of like that episode of Voyager. That's a joke online. It's kind of like that episode of Star Trek Voyager. That's a trope. But I guess, have you expressed sufficient nerd rage toward FF13 sequels and expressed how much you like 13 sufficiently?
I have appeased myself.
You are appeased? Alright, then I guess we can jump into the listener question. This might be a slightly shorter episode. Of when you were growing up, what was your favorite toy/action figure?
You go first. I have 3 that I just cannot choose between.
Oh, you have 3?
Yes, I have 3.
Okay, I can work with that.
Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, you do one, then I'll do one.
Okay,
frankly, my 3 all kind of just fit together, so do your 3 first, and then you throw it to me.
Okay, so my first one is actually 2. So it's my first 2, actually. There was a Scarlet Spider-Man, the Ben Reilly one. The one I have actually on my shelf.
Oh, that one, really?
And the other Spider-Man right next to it. The normal Peter Parker Spider-Man.
Cool.
My dad, when I was little, built a plexiglass environment building where one side was plexiglass, everything had stairs and everything. And basically, when I was little, I'd use those figures and I'd be playing in this action figure fighting dome house mansion. So basically, I had a action figure Barbie house.
That's cool.
And then for my third one,
the boy equivalent of that when we were growing up were like the WWE, like the wrestling ring.
Mine was so much better.
It's like I was never a big fan. I got into wrestling for 1 year. It was actually right around the same time that The Undertaker had his rivalry with Batista.
Oh, God.
And I don't care anymore. Or since. But I went through a momentary phase where I was like, wrestling's kind of cool. And it was only because I thought The Undertaker was so awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. And then my third one was I had figures.
So wait, you did 2 of them just now, right?
Yeah, my first 2
the Scarlet Spider toy and what was the other one?
Peter Parker Spider-Man toy.
Did you lose that?
No, I have them both right there on my shelf. The one with the jetpack.
Oh, okay. Duh.
They're right there on my shelf next to 2 other Spider-Men. They're collector's edition. There's only 500 of each of them made.
Really?
500 total.
Cool.
Those are rare. And started my collection with those. Then my last one is from Evangelion. Me and my brother both got mechs from it. But mechs that didn't show up in the show.
Okay.
They were variants. And they were so awesome. And with the variants we got, they were armored.
Ooh, neat.
Not just the bodies you see, but like full-on armor that detached weapons. It was just the coolest.
What colors were they?
They didn't have the colors, like I said, they didn't have the colors like the Evangelion ones did. There wasn't a purple and orange one and stuff like that. They were variants. It was like...
They still had color, right?
It was black with blood crimson dark red, like the deep, deep crimson red for the armor plates. The weapons were like beam weapons. It was like a mashup of samurais with knight armor.
Neat.
Mixed with Gundam beam weaponry.
Armor Devas. That's kind of neat.
Yeah, it was just...
I don't know anything about Evangelion or the toys that were produced for Evangelion, but...
My dad got me from them out of a comic book store that I really need to find out where it is because I'd love to go back. They have such a massive collection of everything. Comic books, cards, figures, just... It's a nerd paradise. And those are my three. Those were my childhood. Those were essentials for my childhood. Those are, when I think of toys, those are the toys I had.
Yeah. Well, mine are really, I've talked about my Transformers Armada Starscream that I had growing up and how that was my first Transformer that I ever picked up. And I talked about the circumstances under which I picked that up. But really growing up, my childhood consisted of Power Rangers toys when I was little, when I had the Megazords. One of my favorites was the Mega Voyager from Power Rangers in Space. Transformers, 3 of those included the Armada Starscream, Armada Optimus Prime, and Armada Megatron, which are actually, they were going to be my picks. But I kind of decided to group it into 3 categories of Power Rangers, Transformers, and Legos. Legos were my thing as a kid, and I think Legos might be a little bit more of an appropriate thing to talk about, because my Lego collection from when I was a child, Legos aren't cheap. Legos are like plastic crack. They are very expensive.
But they're awesome.
They're awesome. I had a very large Lego collection as a child, and it is all but gone. It sucks. Like, I had tubs, big tubs, really big storage containers full of just loose Lego. And my collection is virtually non-existent now. I pick up a set here and there, you know, to be nostalgic, but everything I had from when I was a kid is essentially gone. Most of my Power Rangers collection, certainly my Mega Voyager Megazord, is also gone, that being one of my favorites from when I was a kid. But if I have to pick 3 actual figures that I loved growing up, it would be, again, Transformers Armada Starscream, using the Star Saber.
That sounds awesome.
It is a sword. You probably don't know this. It is a sword that is constructed by taking 3 Minicons who are all jets.
I know them, and they stack into a sword.
They become a sword.
And I know this because I watched the Minicon one.
That was my favorite. Starscream was my favorite of the 3, but then you also had Megatron, and I gave him the Requiem Blaster. And that's 3 Minicons that all combine
into a giant gun.
Into essentially a sniper rifle with a spring-loaded missile that could actually shoot out.
Oh, dude, I actually know these. Oh, wow. I had the 3 Minicons that became the sword.
You had the Star Saber?
Yeah, I had the Star Saber. I'm not even joking.
I have 2 or 3 Star Sabers.
Like,
now that I'm an adult collector, I have the Japanese Armada Screamer. I never did have a tidal wave to combine with my Megatron. I got the Galvatron toy later that was just a purple / gray recolor of the green tank. And then I had the Energon version of Tidal Wave, and those combined and looked kind of neat. But when I became an adult and I started collecting Transformers as my one of my adult hobbies, I tracked down the Japanese version of Megatron with the better paint scheme, and the Japanese version of Tidal Wave, who was Shockwave. He was purple, as opposed to this weird combination of greens.
Ugh.
And the silhouette that thing gives off when they're combined, because it's basically this big Megatron tank with a turret on its stomach, and then you take 2 boats and you strap them to his arms, and one is a shield and one is this big claw. And then you have one boat that kind of comes apart to 2 smaller boats, and those are like these huge jet engine pyres that are just coming off over its shoulders. Plus the fact that his shoulders are essentially these really long tank treads. But I'd give him the Requiem Blaster. As an adult collector, I don't give him the Requiem Blaster anymore. I give him the Minicon teams that all become weapons.
Fair enough.
Optimus Prime. Who I gave the Sky Boom Shield, and he never really liked to hold that correctly. Again, the Sky Boom Shield is 3 car Minicons who all combine to form a shield. That's pretty cool. But those were, and I still have all 3 of those, as well as the Minicon teams. I still have them all. They're all complete. You know, I took really good care of those in particular from my childhood collection. But Transformers Armada, Starscream, Megatron, and Optimus Prime.
You know, funny enough, when I was a child, I watched the Minicon Transformers every day it came on. I loved it. The Minicons were my favorite. I like the one where he rode the bike. It was a Minicon.
Oh yeah, that's another really cool Minicon set where it's the Perceptor Minicons, who are the Minicons that are the partners with the kids, but then they also become a larger Minicon robot. It's like the three combine into a robot. That's like the other one that everybody really liked. It's like I had him, Perceptor. But yeah, I kind of organize that into 3 categories of my Transformers, my Legos, and my Power Rangers stuff. And a lot of that hasn't survived the time, the test of time, but I still have a very large chunk of my Transformers from when I was a kid. My Legos and my Power Ranger stuff are gone, though. So, depressed me.
It goes through the time. It goes through the ages. It just...
Things are lost. It doesn't help that I've been moving around for the past 7-8 years. Non-stop. And anytime you move, you're gonna lose something. But I lost most of my stuff the first time we moved from the place that I grew up for like 20 years. But I hope that did sufficiently answer that listener question.
I think we went in depth.
Yeah, well,
as much as we can about toys that we had when we were children.
This was a nerd love/rage episode for DK. And I got to talk a little bit about some of my toys from when I was a kid. So, I guess that's going to bring us to a close. Do you have any exiting thoughts that you'd like to share?
I wish I could burn 13.2 and 13.3 to the ground and have no one ever play it again.
We have
like the origin copy and just have all the others vanish.
We have good games to play. It's like, yes, those might have been terrible, but there are still video games that we can play that we enjoy. And there are games that I would certainly choose to play before I popped in 13 again. As much as 13 would be fun. Frankly, the Tales series, like Tales of Grace's F was the one I was playing. That combat system is a little bit, not complicated, but certainly free range. You've got a lot you can do with that. But I guess that's going to bring us to a close. So, fellow Nerdians, we hope you've enjoyed this week's episode of Levels of Ridiculousness. You can always find our backlog of older shows, as well as a new episode of LoR every Wednesday here at Nerddom. I'm Ozpin.
I'm DK.
Please like, comment, subscribe, leave a listener question, leave a topic suggestion, tell a friend, and rest assured that you're all always welcome here in the kingdom of Nerddom.
Salutations.
Have a good one.
Help, I'm still trapped in a box.
Why are you trapped in a box?
Because you won't let me out.
Yes.